guys. So I'm back again. You know who I am. It's me, Dion, your 49er reporter. So just wanted to touch on a couple of things. We luck out a little bit this week because the Rams are supposedly going to sit a few of their starters, i.e. your Aaron Donalds, Jared Goff, probably just a few other slew of people. So we'll be able to go ahead and probably take care of them in an easy way. Wouldn't be too much of a battle without those guys on the field to be able to challenge us, of course. You know, the squad, Shanahan, Saleh, everybody's a little disappointed because we want to make sure we face everybody at their best. But it's toward the end of the season. They've already locked up a playoff spot, you know, and it's just going to be simple enough for them to go ahead and rest their starters, which is a smart thing for them to do, since they are going ahead and making, you know, the playoffs already. So without further ado, I'm going to touch on something else here. Offseason is going to come up here pretty soon, so we are looking to go ahead and make some changes and make some additions to the roster here. Now, I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts lately as far as they go, and everybody has us addressing the cornerback position with Minkah Fitzpatrick out of Alabama. So don't get me wrong, this would definitely be a welcome sight to Reuben Foster, i.e., you know, that used to be his teammate and whatnot. So while I get that and while I understand that, I was trying to take a look at some things, and one of the things that I like to do is, because DB is my favorite position, you know, I like to take a look at the ball hawks, the guys who actually have some interceptions. Because 9 times out of 10, these guys that they pick is the best DBs coming out barely even have 1 to 2 interceptions throughout the year. So, I mean, you can have as many passes defense as you want, but we want the ball back at the end of the day. So last year when I did this, I didn't necessarily do a video, but when I did this, one of the top rated guys coming out of college was Malik Hooker. So Malik was definitely one of the guys to keep an eye on. So I would say that you'd have to be hard pressed to find yourself another guy, you know, kind of like him. But he did have 6 picks, you know, so these are guys that are ball hawks here. So I've got a few notes. So Minkah Fitzpatrick, I kind of looked up his stats, and he's actually been fairly inconsistent. His stats have dropped off a little bit, actually, year by year, while he's been playing at Alabama. But as far as the interception leaders in the NCAA, as far as this year goes, we have 3 people with at least 7 interceptions or more. Well, just 7 interceptions in general. So we're going to start off with this kid, Lucas Dennis, out of Boston College. Next guy is Joshua Jackson from Iowa. Now, of course, we already have 2 players from Iowa on our squad from the Hawkeyes. That would have been C.J. Beathard and George Kittle. So that would definitely be a welcome sight to them if we did draft Mr. Joshua Jackson. And we got Jaden Young out of Florida Atlantic. He has 7 as well. Now, there's 4 other people there with 6 picks. So we'll have Josh Cox out of Central Michigan. We've got Clifton Duck out of Appalachian State. You know, they breed speed, so that could always be a welcome addition, because you always want to make sure you got somebody who can keep up with these speedy guys in the league. We have Deshaun Elliott out of Texas. Texas usually breeds some pretty good DBs, i.e. Earl Thomas. Even though he's a safety over there playing with the Seahawks, he definitely is a great safety. And then we have Mark Gilbert out of Duke and Perry Nickerson out of Tulane. So the next little bit of a stat that we're going to touch on is passes defense. So we have a familiar name from one of our guys that has 7 interceptions, and that's Joshua Jackson. He has 18 passes defense. There's a kid out of Oregon. His name's Arian Springs. He's got 18 passes defense. Got another kid named Nick Nelson with 20 passes defense. He went to Wisconsin. And Brad Ellis out of Ohio has 19 passes defense. So one of the things that rang a bell here was the fact that we had 2 categories and one guy remained the same. I will do my research on him and give you guys a little bit more insight as it pertains to who he is and what he can do for us. But Joshua Jackson seems like a better fit than Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm not saying that Minkah Fitzpatrick isn't a good football player. I'm not saying that he can definitely he won't excel at the next level in the league. I just feel like he's getting a lot of pub because he's at Alabama. I mean, you know, if you go to one of the bigger name schools, of course you're going to get a lot of publicity and people are going to be looking at you a lot more. I would say that I'm going to do my research on Joshua Jackson, but just by the fact that the guy has 18 passes defense and 7 interceptions on the year, to me that tells me you're a little bit better than Fitzpatrick. You know, I'd rather have a guy who can play like Deion Sanders. He can be a ball hawk when he needs to be. He can make sure that he high points the ball. He can do punt return. He can do kick return. He can do all these things, and at the same time, we still have, you know, full-on value for him. I'm not going to be tripped out if the guy isn't that awesome of a tackler, especially if he's getting me 7 picks a year. You know, because at that point, then there are other people that are going to go ahead and take care of that. But just a quick little tidbit of information for you guys. I will do my research on Joshua Jackson, and we'll go from there. We'll see exactly what he's got and what he can bring to the table for our 49ers. But we do have, like I stated in my previous video, as far as the offseason goes, we do have 2 marquee free agents coming as far as DBs go, and that would be Malcolm Butler from New England, Tremaine Brock from the Rams. Did read an article today on Bleacher Report that you know, it'd probably be hard pressed for them to go ahead and keep Tremaine Johnson over there with the Rams, strictly based on the fact of they've had some very good play out of the younger DBs who are probably going to cost them a lot less. So that may be fortunate for us to be able to go ahead and snag him, you know, pick him up. We got more than enough money. I know we got to pay Jimmy G this offseason because he deserves every penny he's going to get. And at the same time, we don't want to lose him to free agency or probably have to put the franchise tag on him because it's a 2-year rental worth about $25 million a year. So we'll definitely want to take a look into that as far as, you know, keeping up with these DBs that we have. But coming out of college, I would probably go with, you know, this kid Joshua Jackson out of Iowa. I'm going to do some research. You guys can probably do some research on your own as well. Check out some YouTube videos on him, kind of, you know, do a little film work, see if this guy is really who he is, who his stats say he is, or, you know, if he's just, you know, a guy that just got lucky. You know, interceptions don't always come to a point where they're being picked off. You could just be in the right place at the right time. You know, and sometimes it could be a combination of both. You could be in the right place at the right time, or you could be looking for that ball and get it. I like my DBs to be ball hawks and know where the ball is. If you're looking at the receiver, there's no way you can pick the ball up. And at the same time, most of these receivers have sure hands, so knocking the ball out of their hands is going to be pretty hard if you're waiting for them to catch it to be able to go ahead and knock it out, because they're going to most likely secure it, and a tie usually goes to the receiver. I will see you guys later. Y'all have a good evening and a good night. Go Niners, and we should be able to get this W with the Rams easy next week, going to the offseason. Very sure of who we have and what we can do at quarterback. And we'll definitely take a look at everything. I'll have an offseason plan for you guys here probably in a couple weeks as we go ahead and get into it and see exactly what we need. Peace and blessings. Good night. Go Niners.